Well, Dragon Folk, it is time for round 4. We are now going against a wonderful opponent, Eric's, and they are going to be on Ira. Well, I am continuing to try my gauntlet as Dash to kind of pummel my opponents with a whole bunch of really, really powerful mechanologist stuff and just come in with a ton of powerful aggro damage. So let's see how this match goes, and hopefully let's see if I don't have another grueling defeat as we continue through the Part the Misfail Clash Bash season. Alrighty, so here we are again. This time we are going against Ira. Now, Ira's been a pretty powerful deck in the format. I ran her all the way to the finals in our last season, but I believe Eric's is on a little bit more of a aggressive build, if I want to say. It's kind of more of one of those, like, it can be defensive, but also aggressive, and it's probably what I wanted to base my deck around a little bit better as I went on. But we're going to go ahead and start it off. We're going to choose the Hyperdriver to start with, and then we're going to go ahead and get our hand. Our hand is 2 payloads and 2 0-60s. Probably the worst starting hand, but also not the worst, because I'm not really looking to do an insane turn here. Obviously, if Ira can block very well, she can block very well, but I kind of want to just make sure these payloads are saved for later, and then I can go ahead and utilize them in a better strategy. But I kept the 0-60s because I do want to try at least using them in my turn. A red 0-60 is very valuable. So they're going to go ahead and do the Ira thing where they're going to come in with a Kodachi for 1. I'm pretty much not going to block most of this. This critical strike's coming in for 9 go again, though, because of the Razor Reflex. But didn't have anything else they wanted to do. So it ended up being very, very, very rough for me there. But that's okay. We take 10 damage. We come in with a whole bunch here, too. This is where we're going to see a lot more really powerful Ira stuff happen, because they're going to block effectively through Flick Flack and Brutal Assault. So now, because they did that, I'm coming in with a high-speed impact. Now, they only need to block with 1 card in order for high-speed impact to not matter, because that's what Flick Flack does. But luckily, now I just get to come in with my 0-60s, so theoretically only really presenting a small amount of damage. I presented a lot and ripped a lot of cards from their hand, but because they can defend super well, this damage doesn't really matter to them. Even if their turn is just Kodachi, do a big attack, we're in a pretty good spot. In that situation, though, I did not decide to use my 0-60 in Arsenal. I wanted to kind of save it for a breakpoint situation, but I should have just threatened more damage with it. Didn't end up doing that. So they ended up coming in with a Stony Wootenhog. They popped their Cross Strap and the Goliath Gauntlet for Stony Wootenhog for quite a bit. I ended up blocking with 2 cards from hand to bring its power level down. I only took a couple damage there. But the problem is that I had a lot of blues in my hand. So now what my whole turn is simply just swing with what I have. I'm going to attack for probably like 8 here, I'd assume. Or I could go for 12, right? I could play, instead of playing Talishar, I could have played my 0-60 in Arsenal and then played Talishar, but I'm trying to keep that down there, maybe let them think that it's a payload and kind of go from there. So if that ends up being the case, it'd be super, super great, but I believe they're just going to block effectively. They know I don't have go again, so I present 8, they presented 8, we're pretty equal there. These Kodachis, though, I don't really want to block, and that's just because I know I can deal more damage than the Kodachis, but they do get to come in with quite a bit. Here's that push the point, something that I like to play in Ira every now and again, and it just is insanely powerful in Ira itself. So now I'm at 2 and they're at 14. This is quite a big life lead. Currently, I don't really have much of anything I can do with my hand outside of making sure they can't block with their mask. So we're going to go ahead and just probably do our best here. I should have popped the Heart and Cross Strap here to attack with Scramble Pulse, come in for 7. I would have done Cross Strap, Goliath Gauntlet, and attack for 7, go again. I would have had 0-60 and then Talishar or I could have even 0 to 60 and then played Techlocore, but instead I'm not going to do that, apparently. Instead, I'm just going to go ahead and just hope for the best. I needed to present a lot more, and the 0 to 60 kind of sat in my arsenal for far, far, far too long. So now it's just kind of a wasted effort. Now, in my situation here, I'm still going to pop these Achilles accelerators, or at least I should have. I do, right? I'm not stupid. That's right. That's what I thought. I pop the Achilles accelerator so I can play Techlocore. They don't take any damage. They take nearly all of this damage. And they block with the Flick Black, hoping to have to block their next thing, and it doesn't end up working out for them. So we're at 7, they're at 2, or I'm at 2, they're at 7, and they have 3 cards in hand. This is easily, I'm in Kodachi lock. The game is not at all in my favor in this situation, but I have a pretty good hand here. I still have my equipment up, and I want to be able to do something. Now, the problem here is that I saw they had a Razor Reflex, and the odds are they have another one. So I need to block in these situations, which is unfortunate for me. It also looks like they're running Sigil of Solace, which is very, very big. They did have the Razor Reflex in hand, as you can see by the pitch, so I would have died to that Kodachi if I had not blocked it. And that is just pure value there. Unfortunately for me, though, I don't have much else here. I get to play a Throttle, no boost, because I have free resources from Techlocore. My opponent's going to block out effectively with all of the D-reacts they run in their deck, along with just the very powerful blocking value that Iras like to put in their deck. I run into a nearly all red hand. No items, though, which is very good. But we also, in this situation, I should have seen that they pitched a Razor Reflex, and I didn't. So I don't need to block here, but I am going to, because my dumb self did not pay attention, and I'm just now seeing the fact that they did pitch a Razor Reflex. So instead, I'm blocking these things out, and I'm hoping that we just get to the point where I'm going to be able to do some powerful things. I don't know if that will ever happen, but we're hoping for our best. And they still have so many cards to be able to be utilized in their hand. I'm not going to be able to deal a ton of damage on my turn. And especially with this Torrent of Tempo coming in, they can easily give this go again with Snapdragon Scalers. But they don't. And my turn is just pass. I don't have a Talishar anymore. Don't have anything. They have a 5-card hand. Snapdragon Scaler still up. A blue for sure. And that ends up being the case here. So again, I'm in Kodachi lock. I take my 1 there, but then comes push the point. I have to block. The problem with my deck is that my armor also doesn't block, which is just not good. But in this situation, I have to block with 3 cards. They Snapdragon Scalers to give it go again. They come in with a Kodachi for 1. I have to block it. And then they can come in with anything else, and I die. And there it is, the critical strike. The game ends. So that was my 4th game. It seems that I was not able to take it home on Ira. Ira does for sure have a pretty strong place here in Clash. I know Ira does run quite a bit of tables in Commoner, and the same can be said for her here in Clash 2, to the point where I've even heard several people talk about banning Ira entirely. We've had some people who have done local Clash armories, and they personally, in their own circle, have banned Ira because of how powerful she is into the meta. So I'd be curious to see if we have a Ira problem on our hands and how we plan to deal with it. But for right now, all I know is that Ira's doing pretty well, and Ira's going to move on to their next game, and I am now 2-2. So hopefully I get to make it into top 8, but we're going to see what our next match happens to be like, and hopefully we can clean it up from there. But until then, we'll just have to keep on grinding and keep working on our Dash deck, and hopefully we can make it happen. I'm going to try and stay on Dash the entirety of the season and see where it leads me. But worst case scenario, if I end up hitting top 8, I can switch decks to different things, because we have 2 decks that we're going to be playing in the top 8 if I get there. So we're going to end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. If you enjoy this Clash gameplay, please make sure to hit the like button down below. subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And then you can also leave a comment letting us know how you feel about this matchup. Have you dealt with Ira in Clash or Commoner, and do you feel like she's too much of a menace? And what would you change about the situation to make it a little bit more fair? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. And you can also become a channel member. Channel members here get free access to awesome things like exclusive content and early access to our podcast, The Common Language, where we talk about budget formats and all things really flesh and blood. We just, jab about some market stuff there too. So if you want early access to that podcast, you can become a channel member, or you can just wait till it comes out for you guys too. That's also fine. And then you also get access to emotes and loyalty badges for when I am live. So you get to flex those on everybody. And it just really supports the channel. So I certainly appreciate everything that you guys do for me, regardless of whether or not it's just watching this video or becoming a channel member. It means a lot. So thank you so much. And I appreciate you. And I hope you continue having fun in the flesh and blood. I will see you all in our next game. Nerd out.